Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Healthy Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Ray.
And this is Sammy.
We are going to be diving into how to multiply your podcast impact. So we're going to be talking about how to repurpose health episodes into various formats, how to optimize your health podcast business model, and to really drive it in a way where you can be maximizing the profit that is available for you. So this is going to be a super saucy episode. I just think it's so strategic, so important, and let's dive in.
Yeah, I think one thing that we noticed is when people came to us, especially health and wellness entrepreneurs, they had been on a ton of podcasts. They had been on tons of shows. A lot of them had been Dr. Phil, these types of things. And so what they wanted to do is repurpose a lot of the content that they had. And we saw that this was a great idea in theory. In fact, I watched a couple people just repurpose this content and everything fell flat. They spent money on repurposing it, what they thought was repurposing it. But there is a special framework you need to do, because the problem with just repurposing things, people don't know what you're doing. All of a sudden, they're just listening to another lecture. So there's a very fine, nuanced thing that happens that when you repurpose content. But it's great to do. And the reason that you are the guest expert or you were the expert on your show is because you had such good information that you really are the expert and you have a solution and you can really transform lives. But you need to make that juicy and you need to make that fun.
Yeah. And we know that you have limited time as health and wellness experts. You are doing a lot of other things. You're running your business. Taking on a podcast is a big lift. It's a big push. But especially in the beginning, when you're getting it going, there's so many moving pieces. So we found that when you can repurpose your content in this way that we're going to share with you, you can really make a big impact. And also you get to just be in the seat that you love most, which is usually like the visionary seat, or maybe even just working with clients. You get to pop on, do your videos, and then let the content get reused in multiple ways. So we're going to share with you some ways that you can maximize that material.
We saw one of our amazing clients, Sinclair Canale. She has a show called Your Health Reset. And what was really cool about this, she had so many testimonials, so many people that had really gotten healed. We actually used her show to get heal ourselves of mold toxicity.
Great show.
And all sorts of crazy parasites. But what was neat is we noticed when we started seeing her use content again, that we had to put some borders around that. And what was great is we started to really create a framework that works with the shows. And we're using it right now on you. And that's called the Binge Formula. And the Binge Formula is an acronym that stands for bring attention to a problem or an issue. And then I is insert a story and introduce you to the solution. N is name the problem again. G is going to be give you a way out, and E is empower you to take action.
And we actually have a whole episode where we go deeper into each of those pieces. So go check that out if you haven't listened to that yet, because that's a
totally
big solid piece of what we teach our clients to do.
But the main thing we want to give you, the reason I tell you that framework is because you need to not just repurpose content. You need to tell people why you're repurposing it and name that problem again. So for example, you can't just say to cleanse yourself of parasites, you've got this crazy supplements you got to take. You got to do the binders. You got to do these. You got to do coffee enemas, and that's going to help. I noticed all that. You can relay that information, and she was coaching that. We had Amy Apigian doing the same thing. But what we found out worked really well was before that episode even started, Sinclair would come on and she would say, hey, in this episode, we are going to show one of the biggest problems with parasites and how people don't get rid of them. And all of a sudden they're 45, 50, and they have no control over their emotions, their digestion shot. This is one of the biggest problems. So anyway, if you get it, she laid out the problem right there. And then she inserted the story with the repurposed content.
And I don't know if you already said this, maybe I missed it, but she was repurposing a summit, right? She wanted to do a podcast, but she was like, I don't have time to do this. So I have a whole online summit that I hosted with all these guest interviews and all of this content. And it was such impactful stuff. People paid to come and listen to the summit. And so it was a very successful thing already that was just sitting on her computer. And so that's the content that she was repurposing and then plugging into our method.
Exactly. And that was what was great. So it really inserted the story and introduced people to the solution, which is that I in our binge method. So once you do that, and then we were seeing that you were obviously really naming that pain again, the next step in repurposing your content is to really give your listeners a solution and a way out of that pain. And what's great about that is when you're in the health and wellness space, this is kind of a ninja hack. If you have customers or you have testimonials or you have people that have already gotten the result that you're talking about, this is a great time to insert, even if you're reading those, is to insert real genuine testimonials of people that have gone through and or solved some of their health issues and have really come through the other side. This is what I love about health and wellness is you guys get to see tangible results quickly, or sometimes not so quickly in our case.
Basically, we don't want anyone's time to be wasted, right? Should we go into more of the creative ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. Mainly what we were trying to do is give the solution through testimonials, right?
So we want to share some other creative ways we can do this. So another one being, obviously, you can take the time to record your podcast episodes. And I think a lot of visionaries and people that we talk to love speaking and being on camera and being on the microphone, sharing their stories. So this could be a fun way, if you enjoy that, to record those episodes. And then you can take that finished content, the podcast episodes themselves, and turn them into multiple forms of content. It can be YouTube, both long videos, short videos, reels, sound clips, post, even email copy. There's so much you can do. And if you have a good team or someone like us or an agency or an assistant that can really help cut those up, one of the things that we've seen is that you don't want to just cut it up in random spots. You really want to still create a storyline. So you're using the binge formula to also make it captivating enough that there are cliffhangers at the end. And so not really going into the whole thing, especially if you're going to do reels and things like that. You want to just give them just a little bit so that way they're hooked and interested in listening to more.
Totally. The other thing, and we were talking about this before, is repurposing that old material, such as testimonials, and repurposing testimonials with an explanation prior to what the testimonial is, which would also be naming that pain and helping those people understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, like giving them that way out, like really giving them and empowering them with a way out of their problem. And that is explained through testimonials. And that's what's great about health and wellness is you guys have a lot of those usually banked up.
Mm-hmm. Another thing you can do is repurpose old material that you've already recorded, such as the summit, like Sinclair's, or other things that you've maybe already done. Maybe it's even a live event that you can turn into a podcast episode. So repurposing that old material and being able to turn it into episodes. And again, with a good team, you can do that together in a really clean way when you have that proper branding, the intros and outros really dialed in and bringing it all together.
Awesome. And if you guys are ever stuck, we have talked about this in other episodes, but really keeping that formula, that binge formula at the front of what you're doing when you repurpose material is really going to help you realize or really actualize how you can take that content and put a framework around it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really can really adopt that binge formula in repurposing content, you're going to have so much fun just repurposing the stuff that you have without having to spend tons and tons of time in the studio.
We would love to empower you to take action on this by taking one piece of content and seeing if you can turn it into 5. And if you do that, you'll probably see and experience that, oh, that was actually pretty easy. I can probably turn it into 10 pieces of content. So go ahead and test that out, see how that goes. Use what we just shared. Make sure you have the Binge Formula in the front if you are repurposing something that is old, but you can also play around with repurposing something that is newly recorded as well. So again, if you want to dive deeper with us in terms of what our team does to repurpose things for our clients, feel free to book a podcast audit call and we can help map out your best repurposing strategy.
Can I leave them a cliffhanger too?
Give it to me.
So also, if you're looking to create those clips from existing content, there are AI tools that can do that. And if you stay tuned in our future episode, we're going to go deep into, actually, I don't even know.
Actually, I think it was an old episode that you've already done.
Oh yeah, it was a prior episode. Go check out
episode 17,
how to really repurpose using AI. And that will blow your mind on how to repurpose things as well. So check that out, episode 17, and really enjoy just taking the time to repurpose that content. Now that was a great episode. Thanks for joining us and tuning in to the Healthy Profits Podcast.
Sammy and I are here to help you turn your health podcast into a treasure trove of opportunity for your listeners and your business. So join us twice a week as we unleash our favorite tips and strategies that have helped our clients at Evolve Podcasting turn their show into a thriving part of their business.
And make sure you subscribe and listen in as each episode builds upon each other. And I know that you're a generous leader, so make sure you share this podcast with your fellow wellness entrepreneurs so we can all grow together.
Until next time, stay healthy and keep thriving.
Bye.
Bye.